Hi, I'm Ray and this is TinyTableGames. Today, taking a break from some Star Wars to get in a game of Wingspan. I know it's a game that's been out for a little while, Stonemaier Games, very popular, in fact so popular that Wormspan came out and then Finspan and about 54 expansions for it. Check Board Game Geek for all your expansion news. But I still have it on my shelf, haven't played the original, and thought now is the time. I like birds, it's coming up on springtime, or it certainly feels like springtime, and you know, why not? Help birds live a better life even if you can't do it for yourself. So let's get to it. Okay, so Wingspan is actually a fairly straightforward game despite how daunting some of this stuff looks. Virtually everything you do takes place on this board, or the other board if you happen to be player 2. You have basically 4 things you can do: gain food, lay eggs, draw a bird card, or play a bird. And you play them from left to right over time, and the farther out you go, the more expensive it gets to create a bird. And effectively, what you're doing is creating a mechanic of executing a chain of events from left to right. So, for example, on many cards, there's a when activated or a when played or whatever with a effect from the bird that lets you gain more food or gain another bird or lay an egg. And effectively, over the game, you're trying to do just that. Feed your birds, not with tuppence a bag, but with various little 5 different types of food tokens. Lay eggs with their Easter colored eggs, which is a little ominous if you think about it. Then there's bonus cards. These tell you what your secret objective is, if you will, and everybody gets 2 at the start of the game, and each person selects 1. You get 5 bird cards to start. You put 3 out to draw from the draw pile. And then you pick which bird you want to keep. For each bird you keep, you get rid of one of your food tokens. So you can keep all 5 and ditch all 5 food, or maybe you just want to keep 3 of them or 2. It's totally up to you. And finally, there's end of round scoring. As you can see, there's 4 rounds. And this is a somewhat icon heavy game, which is great once you understand them, but at first it's a little annoying. But basically, it's if you have an egg inside a stick kind of nest, on each round, if you have the most of those, you get first place, and that'll give you 4 points, and on down and so on. In round 2, you want eggs in this environment, the fields there. In round 3, you want birds with a lay a pile of eggs style of nest with an egg in it, at least 1, and you get points for how many eggs are in there. And in this one, it's how many birds do you have in the watery environment. Because notice there's a tree environment, a grassy environment, and a watery environment. And that's, believe it or not, about all there is to it. You get 4 actions on your turn. You can play a bird, like I said, gain food, lay eggs, or draw a bird card. So it's pretty much all spelled out on the board. It just doesn't seem like it when you're first starting because it doesn't make a lot of sense. But once you get the hang of it, it rolls right along. Or so I believe, based on reading the instructions and having not actually played yet. But we're about to fix that. Okay, so for this game, I'll be playing as 2 players, player 1 and player 2 over here. Here's the first player marker. You take one of your action cubes. That's how you know how many actions you get in the round. Each player starts with 8 total. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's number 8. Haha, 8 total. And each action you do, you place a cube so you can keep track of how many you've played and what you've played each round. And when everybody's out of cubes, that's the end of that round. And on the start of the next round, you get 1 less cube and so on. That way the game kind of speeds up over the course of 4 rounds. So, as player 1, these are my 2 special cards. I have to pick one and discard the other. Either I'm going to birds that eat mice. I get 2 points, which are what the feathers are, per bird, for any bird with a rat symbol for what kind of food they eat. So that's end of game scoring. Or birds with wingspan of 30 centimeters or less, I get for 4 to 5 birds 3 points, or 6 or more birds 6 points. It definitely seems like going to be better off with 2 per bird, rather than 6 plus birds, I'm capped at 6 points. So this seems kind of crony, and this one seems rodentologist, though gross, a good choice. So we're going with that. Will that be a good choice? I don't know. In any case, this gets discarded face up, so everybody knows what you didn't take. Now, for player 2, let's see. Birds in your habitat with the fewest birds. Huh? Birds in your habitat with the fewest birds. 2 per bird. If you have 3 birds in each habitat, your habitat with the fewest birds has 3 birds. Okay. So you get 2 points per bird. So basically it's trying to tell you if you have equal numbers of birds in each habitat, that's how you maximize your points with ecologist. So there's 15 bird slots total on this. So if you somehow manage to put in 5 birds on each, which I think is probably crazy, but if you did, that'd be 30 points. That'd be pretty amazing, probably. Let's see. Birds with the big nest symbol, 4 to 5 get you 4 points. 6 plus birds get you 7. And hopefully, look, it says 31% of cards. That's interesting. To give you an idea how hard that is to do. 2, 4, 6. It's not going to take much to surpass 4 points with the ecology card, so we're going to stick with that one. And ecologist is what the secret power is going to be over there for scoring for player 2. All right. With that out of the way, at the start of the round, the last thing to do for player 1 is decide of the 5 starting birds if we're going to get rid of anything. So let's see, this one's worth 4 points at the end of the game, has that kind of nest, which will be handy in round 3 for scoring. The bird feeder, by the way, are these 5 dice over here. At the start of the game, you roll them. And there is a fancy dice roller that looks like a birdhouse, but I'd rather just use this. And that sets up the available extra food you can pick up if you decide to gain food from the bird feeder. You pick one of these as a symbol and draw the token according to the symbol. I'm keeping 3, so I have to discard 3 of my food tokens. Now let's see, I see that I need any one of 3 for those. I need 3 wheat for the woodpecker and 2 wheat and anything else for the swan. So that may not have been the world's wisest decision on my part, but we'll definitely be keeping the wheat and I guess 2 other things, and we'll ditch these 2. Being player 1, it's time to do something. I'm going to start by placing 1 token here, which is draw a bird card, and I'm going to draw this one, which is the red-throated hummingbird. Why am I doing that? Well, because you can play it anywhere and you can feed it anything. And so on my next turn, when I play this acorn, whoops, that's not that. When I play the tufted titmouse, I can play a second bird in the forest canopy, which this one is allowed to do. And it's easy to feed it to get it out there. So I'll be able to drop 2 in there simultaneously, and that seems like a good start. No, you don't automatically fill this right away. You wait until the end of the turn. So I drew the card. And now it slides over. That way you know that you've spent 1 action, drawn a bird card. And that's all I can do. There's nothing to activate. You always place your cube, by the way, on the leftmost open spot. So for example, once you have a bird there, then I would, if there was a bird here, I would have placed it here. And then done what this one says, which still says draw 1 bird card. And then also you could trade an egg in exchange for another bird card. And then you'd move the brick to here. And whatever bird was here, if it said when activated, you do that activation and then pink, move it down to here. Activations on birds are always optional, by the way. You never have to do it. And that's the end of my turn. And so we restock the bird thing with another red cockaded woodpecker. Okay, we're now playing from player's 2 position because we have 2 different boards, so that seems like the easiest way to proceed with it in that way. Let's see. Remember, we are the ecologist as player 2, where we get birds in your habitat with the fewest number of boids gets 2 points per bird. And let's see, our starting birds over here are the yellow-bellied cuckoo. Once between turns, meaning on your opponent's turn, when another player takes lay eggs, this bird lays 1 egg on another bird with a bowl nest. So it gives you free eggs, basically, as long as your other player does it. Let's see, when activated, the yellow-breasted chat, which has a worm and 2 cherries to bring it out, worth 5 points. We're going to get rid of this guy and keep these 3. Let's see, you start with 1 of each, and this guy goes with a wheat. This one takes a worm and a mouse. This one takes a worm or a cherry. Let's see, and I got to get rid of 3 of them, so I don't want to get rid of a wheat, a cherry, and the other 3 are out. And I guess we will try playing the red-winged blackbird. So I pay a wheat, and I can put him in either the watery section or the grainy section. First, put a token up here in the play a bird. So we're going to play a bird. We're going to put him down here in the water section, where you draw bird cards, which will increase my ability to draw better bird cards over time. Would it be better to do eggs? It might be better to do eggs. He holds a lot of eggs. All right, you're going in the middle, buddy. And that's it. There's nothing else to trigger. Ta-da. Okay, back to player 1. Now, player 1, I'd really like to do my tufted titmouse ruby-throated hummingbird combo, but I need an egg to pay for that at the same time, because you have to pay all your costs. So, to play another bird, once you get past the first column, you start needing eggs, as you can see right here at the top. So I need to get eggs. So how do I do that? Well, easy. I take the lay eggs on the bird, except I don't have a bird to do it on. So instead, I need to gain food. So I'll put it on the gain food token, or space, which means I can select from any of the dice in the food portal area. And in this case, I want a wheat or a worm, so this die is out. And I think I will select a wheat. And that just stays out for now. So I have an extra wheat. And that's all I do. Okay, player 2 is being somewhat mindful of the fact that round 1 scoring, bonus scoring, is eggs in stick nests. And whoever does that the most gets 4 extra points. Let's see, we only got 2 birds left. Neither of them is a stick nest kind of bird. It is instead a star, which means it can be anything. It's a wild card nest. I wonder if that means that applies for everything. Rule check. Sure enough, stars mean it's any kind of nest, so it does count towards stick nests, or any other type of nest for that matter. So that's super cool. So put it in the gain food section. Look over here. And we're getting a worm. Back over here for player 1, keeping in mind we score on rats and rat-eaten birds, of which we have 1 available, 2 available, because those are wild cards, so they count. But what we need are eggs. Do we have enough food to play these 2 guys now? Yes, but we need eggs. And to get eggs, we also have to have a bird put out. So we're going to have to get wheat again. So we can get our acorn woodpecker going, unfortunately. Or we could play the swan, which doesn't do anything for us, but we can play it right now in the water section, which will help us when we draw other things, and gives us 9 points and a place to put eggs. So we're going to do that. We're going to use these 3 tokens and put our action cube on the draw birds. On the play a bird. So we will play the trumpeter swan, which requires the water section and 3 food. So bird played. So in case you're wondering also, if you're like, well, if I want to play a bird in this row, do I still put it here, or do I have to put it out here? Which row do I put that in for the play a bird? And that's a good question. And the answer is, you put the cube in whatever column you're going to end up playing that bird in. So all of column 1 costs, or column whatever, costs 0, and then so on and so forth. It goes on up from there. Okay, player 2, we've got 2 food and 6 actions left to go. We only have 2 birds available. This one lets you play a second bird at normal cost in the canopy. So it'd be nice to be able to do that. But we need 2 things. We need another canopy bird, so we need to draw a bird. We could draw this one. It requires a Lorcana cherry, which we have. So we need 1 more food if we draw this bird, but that would work pretty well. And when you play this one, you draw 2 new bonus cards and keep 1. So you can get extra scoring power that way. So that might be worth doing. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put our token in the draw a bird card. So we will draw a bird. And that goes into our hand. This slides down. There's nothing else to do. That's the end of our turn because nothing else triggers. So we can now restock the birds. Now it's a red-breasted nuthatch, which makes me think of the Monty Python skit if you haven't seen it, which is an even better choice than the one we just got for putting something in the forest canopy. So darn, we should have top decked. But we didn't, and here we are. Okay, back here with player 1. We too have the tufted titmouse option, and the red-throated hummingbird is still a great choice. We just need to get eggs and 1 more food of any kind. So I think we will start with laying eggs. So you get 2 eggs of any color. So out of the handy egg tokens, it doesn't matter what colors, 2 eggs. So our swan can hold 2 eggs, and now it's got 2 eggs. Okay, back here to player 2. We've got the cherry and the worm. We still need another cherry or worm. And so it looks like we're going to do the play food or get food action because we don't have a choice. So we will drop that down. We will pick a cherry out of the tin. Give ourselves a cherry token as a result. Put this used food die over here. That slides down. And now we'll finally be in a position to do something. And that's the end of our turn. Back to player 1 over here. Almost set. Also need food. So time to do that. Although would it be worthwhile to pick up this bird instead to gain wheat from the supply and cash it on that card rather than give everybody food? I think it probably would. So we're going to do a draw a bird card action. So we'll put it here. And notice, oops, sorry, it's a little crooked there. There. And notice we draw a bird card. Yoink, taking this one. And if we exchange an egg, we can draw a second bird card. Do we want to do that? Well, this one is worth 8 points. Requires 2 worms and a fish, though. I'm not sure. We definitely don't have enough actions to get that out this round. But in the 4th round, if you've got birds in the water section, that counts for something. And when activated, roll a die not in the bird feeder. If any are fish, gain a fish and cash it on this card. Do I want to spend an egg on that? Yes, I believe I do. So then the action cube goes to here. This has no actions. So that's the end of the draw bird. So it gets refilled. We've got the red-bellied woodpecker. When activated, gain a wheat and cash it on this card. And the red crossbill. When activated, all players gain a wheat from supply. Wow. Okay. Well, we've got 3 food over here for player 2. And I think we have enough. 1, 2, and 3. But we just need an egg to trigger our master plan. So we will do the egg action. So we'll put it there, which allows us to draw 2 eggs from the supply, which still alarmingly look like Easter eggs. So we can put the 2 eggs on our red-winged blackbird, which actually has a capacity of storing 3 eggs. The cube now goes to here, which triggers this red-winged blackbird ability, which says, when activated, tuck a feather card from your hand behind this bird. If you do, also lay 1 egg on this bird. So, do we want to get rid of anybody? Trigger that. We're the ecologist, so we don't care about that so much. So we will take this burrowing owl and tuck it behind our wood-ringed blackbird. Now it's a flock of red-winged blackbirds. And he gets another egg. And that seems like a very efficient turn. Okay, for player 1, we need food. We've got all the birds, but we need the food. Anything. So, food it is. Gain of food from the feeder. Worms look very possible, so worms it is. Player 2 is feeling pretty good about themselves right now. We got eggs, we got food, it's time to play some birds. So we will put a cube on this play a bird section, which notice does not cost an egg in of itself. So we will play the red-eyed Vero. It costs either a cherry or a worm, so 1 cherry goes to the used pile, and we drop him down on here. Whoops, that's the gain food. Yep. Into the forest canopy. And that triggers when played. Play another bird, pay all its normal costs. So to do that, we need a worm, a cherry, check and check, and 1 egg. Thank you, red-winged blackbird. Red-winged blackbird, interesting. Which allows us to play our red-cockaded woodpecker. Which also triggers, when played, draw 2 new bonus cards and keep 1. So we will draw 2 new bonus cards. Birds with colors in their names. Well, we got red-winged and red. So birds that can only live in there. So I think birds with colors is much more likely. Yeah, 34% of cards versus 19% of cards. So that makes it an easy choice. We're going with the photographer for our second scoring card. Okay, we know player 1 has all the birds, but we need to make it work, and the only way to make it work is to draw another food. And in this case, we got a worm and a rat, and we got a worm and an anything, so we will take the anything, this cherry. So take the cherry, put it on that gain of food. There it goes. That's about it for that. Go ahead and re-roll the dice. So 2 fish and 3 cherries, or 2 rats, excuse me, and 3 cherries coming up. Okay, player 2, we got a couple of choices. We're definitely going to save one of these last 2 actions to get eggs, so we can put eggs on this guy to score the bonus points in round 1. We also need birds though, and food. We need everything. But I think we're going to go with draw a bird, maybe? Because we need 2 cherries. None of these birds that are currently available require cherries, although this guy could be anything. That's a choice then. All right. We will do a gain food. And pick up 2 food. And both of the food, we'll get a cherry and a rat, just to mix it up a little bit. So 1 cherry, 1 rat. These get pulled out. This moves to here, which does nothing, end. Okay, so player 1, it's time for their bird play to go into effect. First, we will play the tufted titmouse and use this cherry to do it. And use the cube, of course, to put it on the play a bird card. So we play him, And when that triggers, you may play a second for the normal cost into the canopy. So we'll play the red-breasted nuthatch, which will cost us either a worm or a wheat. So we'll pay a worm, and we'll pay it here, and also the egg that was sitting on our swan. And that is that. All right, player 2's last turn. We already knew what we were going to do. We were going to place it on get eggs. So we'll get some lovely eggs. We'll put them on our red-eyed Vero. He can store 2, and we'll put 2. It then goes to here, which triggers this guy. We can put a bird card from our hand. We don't have any more, so it doesn't matter. And that's it for his turn. So he does have an egg in a nest, and he has the most, so he gets first place. And puts his token here, so he gets 4 extra points out of that for round 1. Reset his tokens, and now he becomes player 1 for round 2. These all get discarded, and we'll get 3 new birds. And our 3 new birds are the red-shouldered hawk. That sounds cool. When activated, look at a bird card from the deck. If less than 75 centimeter wingspan, tuck it behind this bird. Weird. I guess it's eating small birds. A red-tailed hawk. It's all about the hawks. And the pygmy nuthatch. When activated, tuck a bird card from your hand behind this bird. If you do, gain a worm or a wheat from the supply. Those are all pretty good. Okay, it's the start of round 2, and now this is player 1. Or rather, I should say, player 2 is now playing first. You have 1 less action. You get bonus points for having eggs in the field, and I already got 2 eggs there, so that's pretty nice. But we need birds, and we got a cherry and a rat. So this guy needs 2 rats and can go anywhere. And you can use them to pick up quite a few points. Same with this guy, it's the exact same mechanism. The main difference is he only goes in the forest canopy. Yeah, but I need to keep it balanced. So we're gonna go with this guy. All right, so our action is gonna be draw a bird card, and we're taking this guy. We can't play him yet because we don't have enough food, so that's going to be on a future action. And that's that. That's all he can do. And instead, we now draw the red-headed woodpecker. Can go anywhere for 3 food, 4 points, hold 3 eggs, gain 1 wheat, and cash it if you. So at the end of the game, you get points for how much each bird is worth. You get points for 1 point each for each card tucked behind another bird, 1 point for each egg on a bird, and 1 point for each food cached on a bird, plus whatever points you get from your bonus cards. So, we need to do better is what I'm saying. Well, this guy can do that, so we may have to just suck it up and live with helping out the opponent a little bit. So we will play, because it's going into this one, so it's still this column, play a bird. And we are going to play this guy, the red-throated hummingbird, and feed him a rat, because he'll eat anything. And drop him into the field here. And that's the end of the turn. Okay, player 2. He has 5 actions left. Let's see, we have exactly 1 bird. That's cool, but we want more birds. So we are going to use our ability to gain food. And we are going to gain a rat and a cherry. So 1 rat, 1 cherry, check. So now we got 2 cherries and 2 rats. Nothing else happens because those don't trigger anything. So that is that. Okay, player 1, 6 actions to go here. I think well, we need both eggs so we can play any more birds. So that's the first thing, and food. So the best thing we could do is play here, because that'll give us 2 eggs immediately. And while you can put eggs anywhere, trying to leave them on the swan down here is probably the best choice, because notice in round 3, it's birds who have the multi-egg nest with eggs on them as where you get your extra points. So why not do that? And then it goes to here, which when activated, each player takes 1 food die from the bird feeder, starting with a player of your choice. Well, I don't really need a berry, which is what is left. So I'm going to let player 2 take the berry. So I'll toss a berry over to player 2 there, so they have 3 berries and 2 rats now. And because I need to draw a food, that means I get to roll all the dice and see what I get. So I think that's a better choice. Let's see, so we got wheat, wheat or worm, fish, worm, and worm. And let's see, checking our birds. We need worms and fish, so that actually works out great. We are going to take a fish. And that ends player 1's turn. Okay, player 2's go. We've got 1 bird, this red-tailed hawk. We need 2 rats to play it. And obviously an egg. So the question is, do we put it here? I think we do. So we will pay the 2 rats and 1 egg to play the red-tailed hawk here. So that's the play a bird cube right here. And that is pretty much it. Okay, player 1 now has 1 fish. That's cool. And 2 birds. He needs more food, 2 more worms. But he also needs to get another bird out here. Here's what we're going to do. We'll use the cube to buy a bird. And so we'll take this red-headed woodpecker, which can be played anywhere and requires 3 food. But you gain a wheat that you can... that's weird. But you gain a wheat that you can cash on the card if one's available from the supply. So that's extra points for the end of the game. So that's cool. And do we want to trade in an egg for an extra bird? Maybe. We'll do it. We're going to trade in an egg for an extra bird, which we're going to top deck. And this one goes in the forest canopy, but only requires 1 food of almost any kind. And when played, put a second bird in your forest canopy. Pay its normal cost. All right, player 2 has no birds. So that needs to be a priority. Can't get anywhere else without birds. We've got several eggs, so that's nice. So it's draw bird card again. Let's see. This guy can go in the middle. That's nice. Wetlands bird wouldn't be bad either, but he could do that too. So that might be the way we go. With the white crowned sparrow, granted, we don't... If this bird is to the right of all other birds, move it to another habitat. That won't matter pretty much ever because we're going to put him in the first spot. So he's just going to sit there. And he could store a ton of eggs, which is interesting. Okay, player 1. As we discussed, no thought required. Getting food. So put the cube out here. That gets 2 food. We'll take 1 worm and 1 wheat. So put those dice out here. You get a wheat and a worm token. Oh, there we go. And that's vital for getting these other dudes out. Especially this one. He's the priority, which will be able to put him out next turn. So then the cube goes to here. When activated, gain 1 wheat from the supply and cash it on this card. So that'll be 1 more point for the end of the game. This goes to here, which he does nothing. So that's the end of his turn. Okay, nothing really shook loose for player 2 there. So he needs to get food, basically. And note you can turn 2 of any one food into another food. He's got 3 cherries, so we can turn 2 of those cherries into a worm or a wheat. So we just need to get a worm or a wheat, which means we got to get food, because we already have enough eggs. So 2 food. There's 2 dice left. We're not going to risk rolling it. We're just going to take the 2 worms. Okay, so all the food is out, so we need to roll those dice. Wheat, cherry, rat, and 2 worms. Perhaps not ideal, but maybe not terrible. All right, so the next thing to do is get this guy out. So we're going to first put a token up here on play a bird. So that will cost, this bird will cost us 3 food, which we have now, a wheat, a worm, and other. And it'll cost us 1 egg. We have 1 egg left. And that allows us to put the red-headed woodpecker out with a when activated, not a when played, so that doesn't do anything. And now we're all out of birds. Okay, player 2 has got a lot of food. Is it enough to make this happen? It sure is. But do we want to? We got 2 actions left. I think we're going to go for eggs. So going for eggs, that gives us 3 eggs now. So 3 eggs. And we are going to put them all on guys in the field, specifically for round 2 scoring. So the red-tailed hawk can have 2 eggs. And we got 1 more egg, and the red-winged blackbird can store another egg, so there we go. Now the cube goes to the red-tailed hawk, which says, when activated, look at the top card of the deck. If it is less than a 75 millimeter wingspan, he has an 81 centimeter wingspan, discard it. He's too big for the hawk to eat. Now the cube goes down to the red-winged blackbird, which says, when activated, tuck a bird card from your hand behind this bird. If so, add an egg to this bird. Well, we've got 1 bird card left. Yeah, it's probably worth it. We're just going to stick him back here, add to the flock, because that's points. And we get to add an egg, and we'll do that. So now we've maxed out our egg holding potential in the field at the moment with our 2 birds, and we have 1 play left. Okay, player 1, let's see. He needs eggs too, or this is all for naught. So, getting eggs. Because at least he'll score second. You got to have at least some available scoring to make it work in the round, otherwise you automatically get 0. So 3 eggs. They're all obviously going to go on these guys. He can store 3, so we'll just drop them all right there. Put all our eggs in 1 basket. Egg goes to here now. When activated, gain 1 wheat from the bird feeder if available. There is a wheat available in the bird feeder. And so we get to cash it on this guy. Now the token goes to here. When activated, each character gains 1 food die, and you pick who goes first. Let's see, we need fish and worms and wheat. I really want to get this guy out because he's worth 8, which is pretty nice. So we are going to take a worm. So now we got 1 worm, and let's see, I guess player 2 will take a cherry because he doesn't have any of those at the moment. Or maybe a rat. Should he take a rat? Probably take a rat. Okay, player 2 can't put any more eggs down. We need birds. That's what it comes down to, need birds. Not even food's gonna matter at this point, just flat out need birds. So putting a token on the bird, and no waterfowls available there, so we're just going to top deck it and hope for the best. And that is not what we were hoping for. That is a kestrel, which is delightful, which is another, well, I mean, it's another bird in the field, so I guess that's something, but does not directly help us in any way with round scoring. Rats. All right. So that's somewhat disappointing and was the end of the round. Okay, last action of player one for this round. He's got to go for the bonus point, so he's going for eggs. Because he needs those round points. So he collects 3 eggs. He can put 2 on this guy. And he will put 1 down here on the swan again with an eye towards the future. So now the cube goes to here. When activated, if there's a wheat from the bird feeder, you may cache it here. There is no wheat available, sadly. We move on to this one. Each player gains 1 food from the bird feeder, starting with the player of your choice. Well, we still need worms and we still need fish, so we will take a worm. Player 2, who doesn't really necessarily want another cherry, so he's going to roll the die to see what comes up. It's a cherry, so you're getting a cherry whether you want it or not. Okay, player 2, let's see, first action. We need to get some waterfowl in play, and this guy is not it. And the reason why is because we have that end of game score, which would be cool. And for the end of round scoring, we have this bonus guy, bonus nest, which is the star. So we've got 2 eggs to comply with the multi-egg nest, and that's it. So we're going to go with the draw a bird. I don't want to take that guy because I don't want to give my opponent fish every single round. So we're going to hope for the best and top deck this bird. Hey, and we got one. He requires a worm and a wheat, a yellow-headed blackbird, and when activated, tuck a card behind your hand, from your hand behind this bird. If you do, lay an egg. So same mechanic as some others, like the red-winged blackbird. I guess the blackbird family will do that. And this also helps towards our photography goal because he has a color. So that was really lucky. Okay, player 1. That other waterfowl looks pretty nice, but I agree with player 2. I do not want to give him a fish every turn. He's got too much food already. So we are going to do the play a bird. We need to use 1 egg, so we'll take 1 from the red-headed woodpecker. Sorry, buddy. To play this guy, along with 2 worms and a fish, which will allow us to play him down here. He is worth 8 points. And when he is activated, you roll a die not in the bird feeder. If you get a fish, gain 1 fish and add it to cache it on the card. So he's got a chance of picking up additional points every round when you play more waterfowl out. We don't have any more waterfowl. Man, don't like those birds. So it is what it is. It'd be cool to get another scoring card, but we haven't. Yeah, so that concludes playing a bird. All right, player 2. Got these 2 birds. One is a waterfowl. So we are going to do the play a bird action, and sadly, since there's nobody in the waterfowl section, it's still free. He costs 1 worm and 1 wheat. So here's 1 worm. And we have so many berries, we're going to use 2 of those to create a wheat, which is weird, but okay. And thus we can play the yellow-headed blackbird into the waterfowl section, which is beneficial for round 4 scoring purposes and for the end score. And he's yellow, so again, that helps with the photography also. So ecology and photographer, that's good. Now we need another waterfowl to even it up. Okay, player 1, draw some birds. And we are going to, for our first bird, we're going to top deck it. And we got a northern shoveler, which I assume is a duck of some sort. He is a waterfowl, requires a worm and 2 wheat, worth 7, now we're talking. Hey, has the right kind of nest. And when activated, all players draw a bird card. Wow. Okay, our new goal for the rest of the round, we got 2 actions left, is to get this guy on the table. Are we going to be able to do it? Let's see. We have 1 wheat, so we need a wheat and a worm to make it happen. Neither of those are that. But man, this guy will be great for round 4, even if we can't quite get there this round. I do not regret this choice. Okay. And for the second one, we're going to top deck that too. And it is a turkey vulture. Wow, which you can play for free. And it goes on your opponent's turn. When another player predation succeeds, gain 1 die from the bird feeder. Oh, that's hilarious because you feed the turkey vulture. That is awesome, and he can go anywhere. That is a great card. I love that. Okay, we got 2 turns left, so one of them is going to be to play this bird because that's amazing, and he has hawks. And the other thing we're going to do is, oh, and we can play him in the water section. All right, so the goes to here. When activated, roll a die not in the bird feeder. Roll all dice not in the bird feeder. If any are a fish, gain fish. That would be quite handy. So there are 3 dice not in the bird feeder at the moment. So let's see. We got 2 rats and a worm. That is definitely not fish. So take these back out. Put the rat and the cherry back in. The swan does nothing, and that's the end of that. Okay, so he has 3 actions left. All right, so we're going to go for draw a bird card, because I don't like our choices so far. I think we're going to go with the yellow-rumped warbler, because he has color in his name. For the end of the game, we need to get more waterfowl up, but I don't want it to be that guy. So that's the end of that. So we restock here, and it is another forest canopy, the Baltimore Oriole, which requires 2 cherries and a worm. All players gain a cherry when activated. Huh. How generous of him. Okay. The token goes to the yellow-bellied blackbird. When activated, tuck a bird card from your hand. If you do so, also lay an egg. Do I want to get rid of one of these guys? I'm going to get rid of the kestrel, because I don't really like it. So, kestrel's going behind it. Although, nah, because he can't go into the water either. So tuck in the kestrel, which will give you a point in the end game and allows you to put an egg down on somebody who can hold an egg. So I guess it's this guy. Okay, player 1. We were going to drop this vulture down, and we still may. We also need to lay some eggs. But man, do I want that 9-point Oriole. Look at that thing. 9 points. 7 points for this duck, though. So, I mean, shoot, that's pretty sweet. And after this turn, it doesn't matter about nesting too much. He's just 9 points, that's all. So yeah, if we don't grab him, he's going to grab him. It's 9 points. Got to take it. So we're going for take birds again. We're taking that Baltimore Oriole. We can't feed him yet, but one day we will. And we're taking this osprey too, because he's easy to get out, even though he produces more food for everybody. He's another waterfowl, which will be beneficial in round 4. Next, roll all the dice to try to get fish. Thanks to the white-faced ibis. Come on, fish. Nope, no fish. So just a rat and a cherry back in the bird feeder. And that's it for drawn birds. He's got 1 action left, so let's restock. Here we have a bald eagle. Wow, 9-pointer. Goes in water, requires 2 fish and a rat. When played, gain all fish that are in the bird feeder. All right, and Baird Sparrow. What a weird little bird. Okay, well, player 2's got 2 actions left. Sure, we lost the Oriole, but we did pick up a bald eagle. So by golly, we're getting another pick up a bird card, and we're going for the bald eagle, because wow, that is too good to pass up. You're getting tucked. So this is purely for the additional eggs and to get the point. So we're going to play for eggs, which will allow us to put 1, 2, 3 colorful little eggs. We're going to put 1 on the swan, because that's how many she can hold, and that's the right time for the round 2 or the round 3 scoring, excuse me. And then we'll put 2 more on the white faced ibis. Thanks for your help, sir or ma'am. And then it goes to the red-headed woodpecker. When activated, gain 1 wheat from the bird feeder if available. You may cash it on this card. There is not one available, so sad, but on we go. Oh, sorry, that should be over here now. Onto this one. When activated, each player gains 1 from the bird feeder, starting with a player of your choice. Let's see. Cherry it is. So we'll take that cherry. And the other guy, does he want a rat? He does not want a rat, he wants a fish. So we're gonna, player 2 is gonna re-roll the last die, because that's his choice. And he gets a wheat or a worm for it. So he will take the worm. Okay. That is the last action of player 1 for round 3. So we will reset his tokens. He'll only have 4 actions in round, what, 4? That's how that goes. And he will be tied for first place because there's no way player 2 can do anything else. So he's got 2 eggs in the multi-egg nest, as does, I can see already, player 2. And some other bookkeeping, forgot to update. After taking the bald eagle out, the common merganser. When activated, roll all dice down the bird feeder. If any are fish, gain a fish and cash it on the card. And it's another waterfowl, so that's nice. Coming out at the appropriate time. And rolling the dice because we used all of them. We got 2 fish, 2 cherries, and a worm. That's pretty useful right now. Okay, it's player 2's last action in round 3. We already know he's going to be tied for first for eggs in the nest. We got this bald eagle who needs 2 fish and a rat. Here's our rat, and if we use the 2 cherries to 1 fish and 2 worms for the other fish, we can put our bald eagle out, and look, he even goes on the water, so that's cool. So we're going to use our last action to play a bird. So we need to use an egg, so we'll take this one. And all the food. And he gets put out, and when put out, he's a 9-pointer, gain all fish that are in the bird feeder. Don't mind if I do. There's 2 of them. He doesn't do it again, it's a one-time shot, but still, at least that gives us a boost going into round 4. Okay, that's the last turn. Nothing else happens with that, so he ties with player 1 for most. Going into round 4, what matters is how many waterfowl you have for bonus points. So, we have no birds in hand. We got 2 across the board, which is good for our ecologist. For a photographer, if we get 6 plus birds, we get 6 bonus points for color. So we got a red, a red, a red, a red, a yellow, and a bald. So we need 1 more colored bird to make this work. Any color, pick a color. So we got Baird sparrow, common meranger, and American goldfinch. None of those will work. Well, although unless gold counts. I do not know. Let's see. Yep, gold. So that would count. And it requires 2 wheat to get them in there. Whatever. So we will draw a bird card. And we're going to take the American goldfinch, and we're going to take this duck. Because a fish in anything will get him in. And I think that will do it for that. So the bald eagle does nothing, and then we get over to here. And if we want to, we can take a card from hand and cash it. Oh boy. Well, we're definitely not cashing the goldfinch. Do we want to cash the duck? We can get... we don't have that many actions, so yeah, probably. We're going to turn the duck into points and call that our turn. All right. First thing is, let's see what's available in the new bird choices. We have a forest canopy Clark's nutcracker. When activated, gain 1 wheat from the bird feeder if available, and 1 black-bellied whistling duck. Only 2 points, but when you activate it, discard a wheat to tuck 2 birds from the deck behind this bird. Wow, that's weird. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. We got a lot of stuff going on. So our action is going to be to get food, and we're going to take a cherry and a worm. And that action alone will give us what we need to play that Baltimore Oriole next turn, which is worth 9 points and therefore a good play in my opinion. Now we come to this, gain 1 wheat from the supply and cash it on this card. That's just a cool 3 points kind of situation there. And that's it. Okay, player 2, let's see. We've got our American Goldfinch. We need 2 wheat to make it work. We don't have any wheat whatsoever, so we're gonna have to force a roll. We're gonna play Get a Bird, and we're gonna draw this guy. And we're gonna draw somebody from the top of the deck here, a black vulture who plays for free. And if they predate, you get 1 die from the bird feeder. And he goes in the forest canopy. Interesting. The eagle does nothing. This guy allows you to cycle somebody into a point. We're definitely not cycling him. We're not going to try and cycle him, because that might be a nice little combo if we can manage to make it work. I don't think we're ever going to get back to you, buddy. So you're getting turned into a single point. Okay, player 1. Let's see, it refreshes with a blue-gray gnatcatcher for 1 point. When activated, gain a worm. Wow, that's pretty cheap. He goes into the forest canopy. But we have other things to focus on at the moment, and that is getting this Baltimore Oriole out. So we are going to play a bird, which will cost 1 egg, which we will take off this red-throated hummingbird. Sure, why not? And 2 berries and a worm. Check. Oh, there's the worm. And that allows us to drop him into the canopy. And most importantly, he's worth 9 points. So we played a bird. That's pretty much it. We got 1 wheat left. Okay. Well, we got to get this guy out. We got 2 fish. We need 2 wheat. We're not making any progress on that. And we got this guy who also needs 2 wheat. So there's no way around it. We just got to get some food. So, food. There's 1 cherry, which we're forced to take. And now we re-roll all the dice, and we'll be taking 1 more. Come on, wheat. There is a wheat, and by golly, we're taking it. Is that ideal? No, but I don't know how else to try and make this last thing happen. Okay, well, that's not an ideal food roll for player 1, but we are going to take the get food action. Let's see, so that allows us to take 2 food plus convert a bird card into another die should we choose to. Now let's see, to get this northern shoveler out, we need a worm and a wheat and another wheat. So we got a worm, so we'll take the worm for sure. And now everything in there is a rat. And when you have to pick something and it's all the same, you're allowed to re-roll it if it's all the same. So we're doing that. In the hopes of getting something. Hey, look at that, a wheat and a worm and a cherry. That's way better than 3 rats. That will in fact let us play our northern shoveler on the next turn. So we will take the wheat. So that's lucky. Take the wheat. Now let's see, do we want to convert another one? Because this guy's not going to do us any good. So we're going to trash this bird for another die. And we'll go with a worm because there's no fish available. So what are you going to do? Because that bird's not going to do us any good anyway. So we're going to take the worm and have an extra worm. So if nothing else, we can play 1 more person on our last turn for 2 more points. And allow us to play a second bird for its normal cost, which will just be some eggs, and we can play our turkey vulture for free, perhaps. So that's not a terrible play. Let's see, next, our Oriole. When activated, all players gain 1 cherry from the supply. So player 2 gets a cherry, and I get a cherry. That's nice. And when activated, gain 1 wheat from the supply and stash it on here. That guy is hoarding the grain. And that's the end of the turn there. Okay, coming down to the end, we only got 2 plays left. We need 2 wheat, and we can do it. So we're going to play a bird. It's going to go in this column, so we need 1 egg still. So we will take it from you, buddy. And 2 wheat. So we'll here's 1 wheat, and we'll use 2, I guess, cherries to make the other one. To play the American goldfinch, right down here. So discard all those. And when played, gain 3 wheat from the supply, which is exactly what we need to make our last play next turn. Pretty much there, right? Let's see. We can play our Northern Shoveler, which is definitely the thing to do because he's worth 7 points. So there's 2 wheat, and we need a worm, and there's a worm. So we will do the play a bird action. We also need to pay an egg, so pay an egg to drop our Northern Shoveler down. He's 7 points at the end of the game, and when activated, all players draw a bird card. I don't know that that's necessary. Play a bird. Okay, player 2, last turn, playing a bird. Let's go in here because it's going to land down here. So that requires 2 wheat, which we will pay from last turn. Thank you very much. An egg, no problem. And the black-bellied whistling duck, worth 2 points, will go into our waterfowl section. And that is our last play of the game. Okay, well, it went about like we thought it would. Let's see, either way, it's going to cost us 2 eggs to drop this guy in there. If we tie, is it worth tying rather than, we're at 3 and 3. If we tie, it will be at a 3-point advantage if we put it here, but it's going to cost us an extra egg. So it's really only a 2-point advantage because the extra egg is a point at the end of the game. He's got 6 eggs. We're at 6 eggs also. Good grief. So it does convert into a good play for us. So 2 eggs and nothing else. So sorry, Trumpeter Swan. Thank you for your service. The Turkey Vulture will drop down here. Fortunately, it comes with a little scorecard. So in the end, player 2 won 72 to 71. So there you have it. That was Wingspan. Player 2 won by a single point. I think that game is pretty awesome. It plays fairly quickly, even if you're 1 person playing for 2. And it's not too hard. You got meaningful decisions every turn, but not so many decisions that it's going to be easy to become bogged down in paralysis analysis, especially since a lot of what you do, you can think about while your opponent's taking their turn, or multiple opponents. I can see it getting frustrating at times. There's a certain amount of take that because you can't impact the other players, which is fine, in my opinion. There's limited dice rolls, so sometimes luck's for you, sometimes luck's against you, but you have enough options to help mitigate that by and large. And 4 rounds to correct if you start off poorly. So all in all, this is a great game. It's definitely staying in the collection. It deserves the reputation it has, I think, and I'm looking forward to playing it again in the future. Thank you all for watching. I'm Ray, this is TinyTableGames, and I'll see you next time.